Well, joining me now is Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General for the great state of Missouri. Mr. Attorney General, good to have you with us. What concerns you so far about these disturbing revelations regarding the president's health?
I think this is a cover-up of the greatest order of magnitude in this nation's history. We had a president that was president in name only. Whoever exercised authority over his auto pen exercised the authority of the executive branch of government. And when I read that article in the Constitution, it says that all executive authority vests in a singular president. And the Constitution provides a method by which, if a president is incapacitated, he is replaced in office. And that doesn't include unnamed staffers who are unaccountable to the electorate and we the people. And yet that's what we got. This growing quantum of evidence of his mental decline was furthered this week with the cancer diagnosis. And look, this is either the biggest medical malpractice case in this nation's history or a political cover-up on an order of magnitude larger than that of Watergate. And so it's important that we continue to ask those important questions and press this point forward. I think this calls into question every legal document that the president authored or signed during his tenure in office. Certainly those concerns grow and are of heightened concern the closer we got to the end of his term in office.
I think, and this is the question, I suppose, on the minds of a lot of folks. We know that there is a remedy if the president is in office and is declared incapacitated. But what can we do? Is there a mechanism in place where we can go back and undo a lot of those documents that might have been signed by the auto pen?
Yeah, look, I think there's two different lines of effort here. Number one, there needs to be an investigation into anyone who was taking documents to the president and then auto-penning those documents. Did they forge or authenticate a false writing? And if that's true in the state of Missouri, that's a felony offense. And I'm sure there's a federal counterpart statute that criminalizes that kind of forgery at the federal level. And those individuals need to be prosecuted. Number two, anyone that received a document like that then is going to have to defend it in court because it may not have legal validity, in the same way that if I go to my ailing, senile aunt and ask her to sign a new will that gives me all of her assets, and then the individuals who would have otherwise received those assets can challenge the validity of that amendment to the will. That happens in probate courts across the United States of America on a daily basis. And the question is, did the individual who signed the document have the mental competence, the mental acumen to be able to understand, and was it a knowing and conscious decision? And the growing quantum of evidence is the president wasn't making knowing and conscious decisions. Let's start with the special counsel report from Robert Hur in February of 2024 that said the president was so senile and had the dementia to the point that he was an enfeebled old man that couldn't form an intentional mental state to commit a crime. Well, if that's true, no one should have been bringing this man legal documents that only a chief executive can sign.
I'm curious about Jill Biden. She's the one who knew, right, Mr. Attorney General? I mean, they were married, supposedly a very close relationship. I don't understand why Dr. Jill Biden, may be getting a pass here. She was the one, I believe, that could have told her husband, you got to back down, you got to call it a day.
Yeah, shame on his family for allowing this to happen as long as it did. And I think it shows the nature of the relationships and the dynamic within that Biden crime family, that they were so dependent on him being in that office, they were willing to sacrifice his health to make that happen. Look, this cancer diagnosis, the timing is really questionable given that her audio just was released, that there's a book coming out today that exposes the cover-up, exposes how they limited access to Joe Biden. And so I think serious questions have to be answered about Hunter Biden and about Dr. Jill Biden and why they would want to keep him there in spite of the fact that it was clearly not in its best interests.
I'm curious about nationwide, the Democrats here. I think you can't really ignore the big elephant here in the room. They've got a serious credibility problem now.
Yeah, certainly with a smoking gun like this, where, again, this is one of the greatest cover-ups in history, certainly in American political history, that you had a president who was not capable of discharging his official duties, and no one did anything about it except perpetuate the cover-up and then defraud the Americans by promulgating documents that bore his signature that had no authenticity, they had no legal validity because he did not knowingly and consciously authorize his signature to be affixed to those documents.
I know that President Trump's been making some headlines over the past 24 hours. He talked about military tribunals on his Truth, or sharing that message on Truth Social. But just a few moments ago, President Trump said whoever was controlling the Biden White House was committing treason. If in fact that's the case, and I'm wondering, do we need to have military tribunals here? What needs to be the play among Republicans? Because and I happen to be a card-carrying Republican, Mr. Attorney General, our party not too keen on following through with these punishments.
Well, look, we've got to get aggressive. Certainly, we've done that here in the state of Missouri. Missouri has a vested interest, given that Joe Biden allegedly commuted the sentence of multiple capital offenders that were facing the ultimate punishment. Somebody's going to answer to those victims. And at the end of the day, I think it is a national security issue. Think about the risk that these people put our nation in. We could have been attacked at any minute. What if there was a Pearl Harbor, a 9/11 that happened, and the president was too enfeebled to make conscious decisions? This is the height of insanity. And the people who allowed it to happen need to be held accountable.
Well said. Mr. Attorney General, we're going to leave it there. We really appreciate you coming on Newsmax this evening. Thank you.